But the next story we have with the MCU stuff is the WandaVision trailer. The new WandaVision trailer dropped, and it was really good. Definitely got me more excited for the show than I was. Not that I wasn't excited for the show before, but we just hadn't really seen anything from it. This is a perfect example of why they don't always make a comic accurate costumes, by the way. Like this and Wanda has her OG costume at one point, and neither of them work very well on screen. So
No.
when all you guys are out there complaining, like, oh, they didn't look like that in the comics, well, this is what you would get. All right. You want
Right.
comic accurate. There you go.
Yeah.
It's there. You got it. So you can be thankful for that. Is it cheaply made? Sure. But obviously that's for the point. But yeah, I thought it really gave me, I think I mentioned this to you off camera, this gave me some Truman Show vibes, man.
It really did.
That's what
That's a
I
good way to
thought
put
of.
it.
And I love Truman Show, so I'm even more on board with it once we saw the trailer. So what did you guys think about it?
I thought it was great. I mean, it looks good.
I'm interested in what they're gonna do with I don't know, just what they're gonna do altogether. Because I think John, you and I were talking about this before. Like, there's a lot of different things they could do with this. Like, what if she's kind of lost her shit, and like the Avengers have put her off grid in like a very Truman Show-esque bubble just to keep her contained, so she doesn't do some House of M stuff. Like if they, maybe they're keeping her in some containment facility, so she's not altering reality on a global scale, and it's only, maybe it's just being contained in this little bubble. They could go something like that, which would be kind of interesting. Because that's the only thing, as far as like comic ties, that's kind of the vibe that this gives off, is very House of Emmy. So
there was a comic series called, may have just been called Just Vision. They came out 2 years ago, I believe. Maybe it's probably going back further than that. Anyway, it's been out for a few years now. It was written by Tom King, who's gone on to do the main Batman series, and he's doing the new Batman Catwoman book that's coming out this fall or this winter from DC. Anyway, he that series that he did was really well. It was critically acclaimed, got a lot of attention from the critics. It may have even won an Eisner. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, it was a trippy comic too. So I wonder how many elements they're going to pull from that comic to bring in here. It was basically Vision tries to have a normal life, a normal robot life, and he's got a robot family with robot kids and all the stuff that they get into. So I'm curious how much of that they try and fold into this, because this has that old, especially from some of the black and white shots, the kind of 50s sitcom family feel. And but then it's also, you get like, there's a question from one of the people in the show to Vision at one point, like, how are you doing this because you're dead or something? And Vision looks shocked. So there's something really weird and trippy going on. I think all your suggestions about Wanda maybe warping reality, maybe being set off to the side somewhere by the Avengers, maybe this is just in her head. Maybe this is her playing through her grief. I don't know.
Yeah, because they could do that too. That's what a lot of people initially thought. I'm just thinking maybe they're taking it a step further, because like, yeah, the whole head thing, if it's all in your head, that's just as big of a, like, kind of a boring cop out. When like it's like when you wake up, you watch a whole movie and in the end it was a dream.
Yeah.
Sure.
How like annoying that is for the viewer. Like, it's kind of annoying. Sometimes it can be done well, like, but I don't know.
What if it is the main crux of it is taking place in her head, but because it's taking place in her head, it's affecting the outside reality, and so maybe there's stuff going on the outside that's they're trying to clean up whatever's going on with her. I think I find it wholly surprising, interesting, and intriguing that this is the show that's going to launch the MCU on Disney Plus. Like, I would have thought that Captain or the Falcon and Winter Soldier would have been the first show to make it, just because
it was supposed to be.
To me, tonally, that feels like it's more MCU. This is, it's MCU characters, but it feels tonally quite different. But maybe it's maybe it's just I don't know, maybe it is intentionally that. Maybe they don't want people to just, get used to expecting the same old thing, and they're trying to branch out. But so one of the things, and you both can tell me if you remember seeing it, there is a shot in there of Vision kind of hovering above a city or flying up above a city at one point.
Mhm.
Did either one of you notice, did he have an Infinity Stone in his head?
Yeah, he
I
has the stone and everything.
does he?
Yeah,
Okay.
because he even when that scene you were talking about before, when I forget the actress's name, but she's sitting in the car just, like, kinda dazed, like, then he goes
Mhm.
up and uses the Mind Stone's power, like, he puts his finger to her head and, like, little yellow energy shoots out of his, finger, and then
Okay.
she comes to, and then she asks if she's dead, and he says, "Why would you think that?" And then that's what she says, "Because you
Because
are."
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's like, "Oh,
I've
oh,
only watched I think I
no!"
watched the trailer twice, but then I was so wrapped up in just the tone of it that I didn't pay attention to little specifics like that. And
Yeah, because that's the one thing I noticed. He had the stone, and he had the little energy coming out of his finger. He
Mhm.
His powers come from the stone, so, like, he
Yeah.
can't use the little energy thing without the stone. So that's why, like, it obviously all has to be made up to some degree and not real. But to what capacity, who knows? Like, it's because the only other theory I really had with it was that, Shuri, like, Black Panther's sister, was able to who has been confirmed to be the smartest person in the MCU, smarter than Tony Stark, smarter than she is literally the most on an IQ level, the smartest person in the MCU. And, so my guess is maybe since she was trying to remove the stone from his head before Thanos ripped it out of his head, that maybe she was able to rebuild Vision without the stone, but maybe it's not, like, fully working, maybe he's not all there,
Yeah.
like, his maybe it's just his personality's gone, maybe who knows?
That can
And
make
then
sense.
yeah, and then Wanda is either manipulating him to try to, like, make him, be normal. So, like, what you're seeing is kind of a mixture of both her warping reality, but it's also in Vision's mind because she's kinda manipulating it, and but maybe her doing that too is also warping reality. Because the only thing we really know about this show is that it's supposed to lead into the Doctor Strange sequel, Multiverse of Madness, where Wanda is gonna also be a character, like a pretty much a co-lead to some degree. So, if they're trying to, like, kinda piggyback it in some way, I mean, Multiverse of Madness, and then, like I said, like House of M stuff, where she literally rewrites reality. I mean, she has the ability, quote unquote, to do that in the comics. Who knows about it in the MCU? But they're kind of teasing that in this to some capacity. So I don't know. That's the only
Well, I
reason I
mean,
could really think that they're kind of like keeping her away because maybe she is like through her grief or through her trying to warp Vision's reality. Maybe like that's affecting the real reality. You know.
forgotten that this was leading that she was supposed to show up in that Doctor Strange movie.
Hmm.
And if this is the bridge to that movie, then maybe this is her. Maybe she's discovered a way to jump through the multiverse, and maybe she is exploring other versions of her and Vision.
Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking, but she's not so much jumping through, but she's literally like creating them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because like she can do that. Like she has the
Yeah.
ability to like do that kind of stuff in some ways. Like it's not like she could just snap her finger and like I don't know. They actually there's literally a scene where she just I think she even snaps her finger and like the furniture changes. So like
Yeah.
she is literally changing things like right in front of her. But that's what we don't know is like is that just her projecting that in Vision's mind because we know she can project realities in people's mind and from Age of Ultron, giving Tony the vision and everything, and they're like tripping everybody out. So like, oh, they could literally go so many different ways. And Wanda is like such an OP character in the comics. Like if they want to dive far more into that, and even in the movies, they've really just used her powers for more like telekinesis kind of things. Though they haven't actually done the reality bending kind of things that she can do. So, but it looks like this is kind of touching on that. But to what extent, who knows? We'll just have to kind of wait and see.
Yeah.
No. Like I said, I'm far more excited for it now than I was before. Well, yeah, to your point too, Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first show on Disney Plus. They just still they haven't finished filming it. so it had to get pushed back, and they were trying to get it. They were going to go back, I think, in July to try to get it done. I think it was supposed to come out in like July, like shortly after that, but it's supposed to already be out by now. Like I'm fairly certain the initial release date for Falcon and Winter Soldier has already passed and had to get pushed back because they still had some couple days of filming to do, and they never got a chance to do it. So, and they still haven't been able to go back and do it. So, which kind of leads us into one of our other stories because it did get pushed back. So first, before we get into it, what did you guys think of the WandaVision trailer? Whatever. If you're thinking, is this Wanda creating a whole new reality, or is this her trying to like bring Vision back? Because maybe Shuri was able to bring him back in some ways, but he's not all there. So she's just doing WandaVision in his mind, or is he, is she actually manipulating reality and whatever it is? Let us know down in the comment section below.